Hello everybody and welcome into the PGR eSports Intimidator Superspeedway Series. Back tonight with another race here at Talladega Superspeedway. This week though, we are back in the COTs. We've ran this car once before. It was chaos then and it is going to be chaos once again here tonight. As always, thank you all so much for tuning in. You are watching Austin Green on PGR eSports. Well, just 1 week left to go until the 2025 PGR eSports Championship. And a lot of drivers looking for one final shot here tonight to secure themselves in that race next week. Before we get into anything else, though, let's get right down trackside because qualifying is complete and drivers are getting gridded up and ready to go for 50 laps action here tonight at the High Banks. The man who will roll off from the pole position here tonight, the number 18 of Wyatt Gray, puts himself on that front row with a 42.660. From McCullough Motorsports, Casey Sprinkle will roll off second here tonight. It's going to be Marcus Smolden back in third. Jackson Buys on the outside of row number 2 and fourth with Dylan Basin, one of the Jack Shack drivers. He's rounding out the top 5, and he'll have a teammate to his outside in 6th. The 89 of Trevor Oswornoff. Behind him will start the 7th place running Ethan Eckert in the number 12 car here tonight. John Ellis Jr. will start back in 8th with one of the Canadian and COT Series drivers in the field tonight, and that is Malik Ray back in 9th. John Ward for Dega Pros rounding out the top 10. It's going to be Jeff Merck rolling off from the 11th spot here tonight. Another one of the Jack Shack's very own, Jared Haynes. He will roll off from the outside of row number 6. Back in row 7, Michael Barksdale alongside PGR 500 former champion Daniel Falkingham. Aaron Smith rolls off 15th. It's going to be Matthew Baker in 16th. And I think for Baker that he will be race control tonight, so that'll slide everybody up a spot. But for consistency, we'll say starting in the 17th spot here tonight, it's going to be Landon Veliky with Dylan Jones back in 18th. Evan Carlbon and Chase Mastretta will round out the top 20. Back in 21st is going to be Mark Rogers. 22nd from McCullough Motorsports will be Joshua McCullough in the 05. Brock Westmoreland, he'll roll off from that 23rd spot here tonight. Ken McCullough Jr., the captain, back in 24th. In 25th, we'll start Colby Nill in the number 9 car with Mark Von Dell back in 26th. And the last man to start in the field here tonight is going to be that 27th place, and that is Nash Brambilla in the 23. Looking at your race info here tonight, we'll talk about the cars in just a moment, but we are going to run 50 laps, same distance as last week, 100% fuel once again with 2 sets of tires in the pits if you were to need them. No fast repair here tonight, which is also going to be a big part of this race. Fixed setups as always, and 1 green-white checkered if we were to need it. Weather outside, 85 degrees, clear skies, and a little bit of a breeze coming in at about 10 miles an hour. But the big thing that jumps out here is that track temp, almost 130 degrees. And grip is already tough enough with these cars. That is going to make it an even bigger issue. Talladega Superspeedway, we've been here so many times before, but boy, it never gets old. Over 2.5 miles in length. It is a monster of a super speedway. 30-plus degrees of banking in the corners, and those long, wide straightaways allow for all sorts of pushing and shoving when we are in the normal series. And I mention that here tonight because, of course, we're not in a normal series. We are in the car of tomorrow, once held famous in the late 2000s through early 2010s era of stock car racing. And one of my personal favorites, man, this is when we saw some of the fastest running cars that we've seen throughout NASCAR. When these guys would go to tracks such as Michigan, Talladega, some of the most famous wins you think of, Brad Keselowski at Talladega, So we'll have to see who can get it done here tonight. But these cars even faster than what we had last week in the 87s. Grip maybe up a little bit, but again, that track temp is going to make that on the tougher side. Looks like a little bit of dirt here on the track as these guys are getting ready to get going. We'll see if that gets cleaned off after they get up to pace. But here we go, 27 V8s ready to roar to life. Leading them to green will be Wyatt Gray and Casey Sprinkle. Here we go at Talladega. No restrictor plates on these cars tomorrow, so these guys are already just about up to full pace as they rock it down. The Alabama gang backstretch for the first time here tonight. The 21 of Marcus Smaldon quick to go to the lead after the 18 of Wyatt Gray washed up. They're going to single file out pretty quickly. That's the name of the game here tonight. Again, there's not going to be a lot of pack racing. These cars too difficult to handle, but you do see a little bit of 3 wide already on the bottom trying to make something happen. Almost 4 wide now. Wyatt Gray looked to see if the 21 of Smaldon was going to leave the door open, but he didn't. Dylan Basin with the nose just briefly out in front, trying to make something happen here. The 48, can he slide clear? Oh man, he just barely slams the door on Smaldon, who will now go back down to the inside. Wyatt Gray follows in the draft. 3 wide again, is now the 5's going to go right back to the bottom. That's Casey Sprinkle from McCullough Motorsports trying to make something happen early. We're going to hop on the cockpit view early. We talked about these cars. It's going to be a handful all night. It'll be one of the key things we talk about throughout this race. Look at the speed coming through the tri-oval. Over 230 miles an hour here at Talladega. Down the short chute as they climb the banking into 1. Casey was trying to get clear to duck in line, but he's not going to be able to do it. Of course, our fellow commentator Dawson, who joined us in the booth last week, he mentioned something that I want to talk about again here tonight, and that's when we talk about most cars at super speedway racing, you think of just putting your foot flat to the floor and keeping it there the entire length of a run. These COTs, if you're up front, you might be able to make it happen, but as that run goes on, especially with a track temp this slick, and if you're trying to save tire, you are not going to be able to do that. So we'll see these guys have to use a little bit of throttle control as this run continues to go on, but boy, they continue to dice it out here for about the top 15 to 20 positions. Aaron Smith back in 14th, but it does look like, for the most part, all of the cars that started this race are still hanging with the lead pack. And that goes all the way back to 23rd, where we currently find Michael Barksdale. He is down 10 positions from where he qualified in this race at. Ken McCullough Jr., the first man off pace of the lead pack here. He's running with Brock Westmoreland. So those two are going to likely need a caution here. Mark Von Dell trying to chase them down as well. So that is where your 26 running cars are at the moment. But we got one on the wall here up towards the front. Big time save. That's one of the MBG drivers, Jeff Merck. In the 60 there, had to make a big time catch. You see everybody's going to dive low and get around him here. That was Jared Haynes who split the gap through the middle. And it looks like Jeff Merck is finally going to be able to catch it. But obviously we talked about the fact that with as fast as these guys are running here, even a little mistake like that, a brush with the outside wall, it just costs you so much time. You got to be so careful about how delicate these cars are too when it comes to any sort of aero damage. Can have big implications on your race here tonight, but boy, tell you what, Dylan Basin right now is starting to look like the Pied Piper here at Talladega. He has got them all single filed out. Running that arc up off the corner, leads into the top, through the tri-oval, back to the bottom. Daniel Falkingham settling into that 3rd spot. He's got the Army number 39 machine. Similar colors to what Ryan Newman used to run. Malik Rado currently sitting in 2nd in the 1 car. You see he's kind of just minding his P's and Q's, leaving a little bit of a gap. That makes me think 2 things here. He's either trying to set up a big run here, potentially on Basin, to try to make something happen, or he's leaving just a little bit of room here to try to help with the handling of that race car. Big move out back. That was Casey Sprinkle, who took a dive to the bottom, trying to shake things up there, as that was the 14, I believe, of John Ellis Jr., the driver out of Fort Mill, South Carolina, who was going to try to beat the 5 to it. Couldn't make it happen that time. And whoa, big moment. Casey Sprinkle, hold on to it. He's going to save it as the 5 got all sorts of sideways there, coming off for 4. You can see a lot of these guys starting to skate around. I think for John Ellis Jr. there, he finally was able to catch Casey Sprinkle off guard. Casey tried to counter, but again, these cars proven tonight, you cannot move them around as quickly as you can in the trucks, Xfinity, or Cup cars. So it looks like Sprinkle is going to jump back in line. Meanwhile, the 21 of Smalden continues to go to work here, trying to find some sort of room to work with on the inside. Problem here for Smalden is, of course, he's not getting any of that drafting help down the straightaway. He's got to make the pass going through the corner here. He's got close on John Ellis Jr., but just gets a little tight coming up on exit right there, not able to quite make it stick. So he'll stay where he runs right now. Wyatt Gray in the 18. Boy, we talked about him at the start of this race. You know, part of my initial thinking was, what happened? Did the handling fall off? But you know, I'm kind of thinking on second thought here, so we can try to get you a better look here from the cockpit view. There we go. But I was going to say, you know, on initial thought, I thought maybe it was just the handling that was an issue. Why we saw him fall so many spots out of the gate. But you know, I'm starting to look at it now and seeing the way some of these guys are struggling with the handling. I think that Wyatt Gray may have set this up on purpose. Just kind of fall back in line, ride around, try to keep some track position, but wait for these guys to really wear out their stuff. And then, of course, see if you can maybe pounce on the opportunity and try to make your way to the front. As you see Aaron Smith currently sitting behind Wyatt Gray. That's another name I don't think we've ever called before in PGR. If we have, it's not been much, so good to see him out here tonight. Dylan Jones running the Carl Edwards paint scheme here tonight. He's got the number 99 Aflac machine as he continues to chase after Aaron Smith. Jared Haynes, Jeff Merck, Landon Velicky. Good to see him back in the field here tonight. He's rocking the number 87. And for Landon Velicky here, talk about he's never won a PGR race that's been broadcasted, but he's won 2 that weren't. So still looking to break that streak here tonight. And all of a sudden, this lead pack, boy, it's thinned out quite a bit here. We went from about 23 cars, now down to only about 14 left with that lead draft. Mark Rogers, the first man chasing. As you see, he's getting run down by Evan Carlbon, Colby Nill, John Ward, and a few others here that have now kind of made up this second group. So they're going to have to hope for a caution here. Otherwise, I don't know if they're going to have much of a shot here tonight. We talked about 100% fuel. And these cars, I still don't believe anybody can make it all the way to the end on a single tank of gas. So I think you're going to have to pit at some point. It's just going to be a question of when, and I would assume on top of that, the only thing that you would continue taking would, of course, be just some fuel to get you to the end of this race. Well, if you're just tuning in, we appreciate you being here. You are watching the PGR eSports Intimidator Superspeedway Series, and oh, right there, you just watched Casey Sprinkle with another big-time save off at Turn 4, but we're in not a special event here tonight, but we are in a different car, something that we're not used to seeing these guys running. Boy, here tonight, it is putting on a show so far. 2x2 back now for that 4th spot. A little bit of a battle setting up. Eckert really leaning on the 14 of John Ellis Jr. as he tries to work him up the track. Ellis, though, able to fight back, looking for a little bit of a side draft down the backstretch. He'll stay high for the moment. Gray, will he look for a push, or does he split Eckert 3? It looks like he'll stay content to work with his teammate for now. That's a Toyota and a Chevy working together to make something happen. Meanwhile, Casey Sprinkle here starting to go at it with Aaron Smith and the 33 of Jackson Buys. And these guys got to get it sorted out quickly. You start doing that for too long, it'll be pretty easy to lose the pack right here. We hop on now another onboard view, and in fact, we'll go to the cockpit view as well for one of our drivers carrying an onboard view for us here tonight. That is the 60 of Jeff Merck. And boy, listen to how much throttle he's having to lift out of right here just to keep this car painted on the yellow. Man, for Jeff Merck here, almost makes you wonder if track position a little bit more important tonight than we initially thought. Listen as he goes in the corner right here. Hear how much he has to lift out of it just to get that car checked up enough to really get it turned back down the banking. And the problem right there with the way he at least ran it into turn 3 is he is really scrubbing off those front Goodyear tires big time. Running it the way he is. And I know we didn't compare lap time at the start, but I mean, just looking at speeds down the straightaway, you can see back in the draft, you're probably going about 5 to 10 miles an hour quicker than some of these guys that are running at the front of the draft. The reason that's significant is, of course, more speed that you run into the corner, more speed you got to scrub off to try to get that car checked up and low down in time. For 2 of your COT Series drivers in the field here tonight, Malik Ray, Daniel Falkingham, who run 2-3 at the moment, just continuing to bide their time. You haven't seen many big moves up front after about the first 5 laps or so. I think that's all part of the chess game here. These guys know how valuable tires are. Cannot afford to wear them out, especially knowing we still got a good ways to go in this run. That, of course, begs the question when we do pit. Talked about that. I don't think time-wise it's a great idea for tires, but in terms of grip and maybe the amount of time you'd make up on the racetrack, that would be where that question comes in on, do you take none, do you take two, or do you take all four? Try to play it out that way. All right, so 14 laps to go. We got a few people in the chat here tonight. I want to give a shout out to Ninth Gear Broadcasting. Make sure you do go check them out. Says, let's go, ready to get going. Tyler Vickery and Cookie Man watching in the chat here tonight. Says it's going to be exciting. Who hits the wall first? Good to see you guys in here tonight. Heath Job, hope you're having a good night. Mark Pearson says that was Trev that saved it about a foot short of the wall. So we continue to see everybody in the chat watching the chaos here tonight. Kenny Rio, good to see you in the chat watching as well. Hope that everybody's having a good night. Big moment right there. Basin slid up the racetrack. That opened the door up to Malik Ray, and you can see just how many positions that's costing the 48. He'll slide up now, but the question is, where does the draft go and where does the momentum stay? At the moment, looks like it's still on the inside. Man, this is a tough break here for Basin. You wonder if him having clean air for as long as he did helped him conserve any sort of tire. Caution, trouble, first one of the night. Question is, where is it from? John Ward has crashed. That's what we are getting reports of. The Dega Pro's captain has taken it right to the garage. And oh man, this is not what you expected here for the 24 car, who we actually saw get loose earlier. He had a big time save. Before we get to that, we'll turn our attention back up front here. Field now catches the pace car here. It's going to be Malik Ray, Daniel Falkingham, your two leaders here at the time of caution. And I'd say really a good break here for the 48 of Dylan Basin. I mean, he was starting to get himself in a little bit of trouble there in terms of everybody trying to get by him on the inside. So he'll get a chance to regroup here and kind of reset. Again, that now hands the lead over to Malik Ray. First couple of laps that he's led here tonight came just at the end of that green flag right there. See, Daniel Falkingham currently sits in second. And so again, we're going to go back and get a look at this replay. I promise that. But before we do, I do want to get a chance here to see who decides to pit, because that's such a key part of the strategy here tonight. So we'll let these guys bring it around here and see who decides they want tires or not. I would assume everybody goes in, right? I mean, we just saw how loose and out of shape everybody was. The track temp isn't going to cool off. So again, I think you go in here, take your first set of tires here tonight. You've got two. And try to set yourself up here just in case we see another green flag run, because that seemed like a pretty isolated incident. So there's a good chance that, again, maybe this thing goes green the rest of the way if we can get through the restart clean. And you see that track temp I mentioned. Sim temp's only 85, but the asphalt here tonight sitting well over 120, almost 130 degrees. So it is scorching, and here we go. Malik Ray, you see he's going to duck down now below that double yellow line. He'll lead the field in here for the first big round of pit stops here tonight. No surprises here. And so everybody going to go in here. I would assume the call pretty much widespread here would be 4 tires and fill it up with gas. Now they should be able to make it to fuel on the end here, I would believe. So we'll have to see right here. And actually Malik, did he miss his box? Oh, I think he did. I believe Malik Ray just missed his box. He goes right through the pits. Everybody else goes in. It looks like the call for a lot of drivers, though, surprisingly, was either fuel only or 2 tires only. Did not see a lot of 4-tire calls right there. Boy, that surprises me. I really thought we were going to see a lot of that, but it doesn't seem to be the case. So more on that to come. Let's go back now and look at what brought out the first yellow flag here of the night. Again, we got reports that this was an incident back with John Ward on the backstretch, and looks like that's the 51 that he's going to get tangled up with here. We'll figure out who that is as well. Is that Carlbon? Yes, it is. So John Ward and Evan Carlbon here coming off of turn number 2. Carlbon gets a little run to the inside, but we talked about these cars getting tight on exit of the corner. Just starts to work up the track, and boy, it looks like he gets right in to the right rear of John Ward. That sends them both around. Let me tell you something. When you're going 230 miles an hour, it doesn't matter how much runoff room you have. You're going to hit something, and it's a pretty big shot there. Obviously to the right front for John Ward, and must have felt like after the contact was made that damage was enough that he wasn't going to be able to recover from it. And so that, again, unfortunately ends his night. Here's another look at it. Watch as they're coming off the corner. You see the 24 sparking a little bit. It's just the car bottoming out. But then right here, just really, really tight, I think, as Evan Karlbahn right there just gets up the track. Now, the question was, you can, I guess, make the argument, does he hit Ward first? I think he does. Yeah, he definitely does there. You see the contact, and, maybe Ward was going to get up into the wall anyway, but the 51 definitely got into him, and that did not help the situation. And you see the 24 here going for the long slide. Car does stay on the ground, which was surprising. We see these things get airborne pretty easily. Then there's that big hit to the inside wall. Karlbahn takes a good shot as well. So he'll have to go in for some repairs, but I think he'll be able to at least return. As we try to get one more look at this here from our TV2 view. It's a little bit delayed here, so we'll go back and get one more quick shot of this. There you go. Right there. It's all the contact it took, and just his history. There's the big hit. 24 of John Ward. So we go back live now. You saw Malik Ray in the pits there, so that confirms that just missed his box. Has to get sorted out right there. In the chat, John Ward says, Evan, turn me. Frowny face. Yeah, John, I don't blame you. Again, we know, nothing intentional by Evan there. That's the battle in this car, and obviously a really unfortunate break. I'm feeling for you, John. It just looked like kind of the battle of loose and tightness here. We talk about how loose these cars are, which they are, but at the same time, they've got so much yaw on them, similar to the 87s, that you kind of run them sideways. And so if you get a little bit tight coming off the corner, it's so hard to get that car to just whip back and straighten out without going up into the outside wall. And that was only about, 15, 16 laps into the run? So remember that here as we go through our first restart, rather, of the night. And so as we do grab this restart here, it's going to be the 39. Daniel Falkingham lining up on the inside, front row, but it looks like the leader here might be John Ellis Jr. on the outside. Dylan Jones, Ethan Eckert going to be in row 2. Landon Veliky, Dylan Basin back in row 3. Marcus Smalden, Joshua McCullough, Jared Haynes, and how about Colby Nill back inside the top 10. Nill is one of your biggest movers. He is currently tied with Dylan Jones. Both of those two up 15 positions from where they started this race at. All right, so the pit stop question has been answered. Everybody should be good to go now the rest of the way on fuel. I don't think tire strategy is completely out of the question, especially if we run a fair amount of laps here. But if we stay green, I don't think we will see any more pit stops as we go through the rest of this race. So if you're just tuning in, get comfortable. We've had a good one so far here tonight, and we have got a long ways to go. Not even halfway yet at Talladega in the COTs. Falkingham going to lead him back to the restart zone here. And he'll wait till we get to that Geico restart zone. And here we go. Green flag back in the air. Let's try it again at Talladega. Good restart this time. The front row quick to pull away, though. They'll single file out for the front two. And oh man, Falkingham got that big gap. But again, this first lap, as everybody's working up to speed here, this is where we see some of the most moves get made. Got to take whatever runs you can get. Ellis not going to get there. Meanwhile, 2x2 out back. Smalden now going to look 3 wide on the 87 of Veliky. Looks like he'll tuck back down in line. They play nice for the moment. Big checkup right there for the 21 going into the corner. See Malik Ray, Jared Haynes, both stuck side by side. I think Malik here is going to be pretty aggressive, trying to get his way back to the front. You see Joshua McCullough back in the good wrench paint scheme here tonight. He's trying to make his way back to the front. How about Trevor Oswanoth in the 89? He's got some work to do. We'll hop on board here for a lap to show you what it looks like working through traffic here at Talladega. You see Joshua McCullough get up into the wall. Oswanoth wanted to jump low, but he's not going to be able to do it. He'll have to stick in line behind the 05 for the moment. Back up front we go. Battle for the lead here. Dylan Basin now out in front. It was Falkingham the first lap, but Basin quick to go back on point. And we saw him have great short run speed over that last run. So we'll see what he's got now that he's gotten to the front a little bit sooner on this one. 21 of Marcus Smalden dipping back down to the inside here. He's looking for a position on John Ellis Jr. They continue to stay single file all the way back through the 183 now, trying to make his way back to the field. And how about Jackson Byes? Called his name a couple times here tonight. That's the number 18 car. And for Jackson, you see him just wheeling and dealing off the corner there, trying to keep the car in line. And I think the hardest part here is trying to get the car into the corner without using up a ton of tire. Now you hear Jackson, notice what he does there. He doesn't put too much wheel into it until the car starts to bite. That's going to help him save a little bit of front tire as we go over the course of the long run. So certainly some good heads-up driving right there by the 18. One of the youngsters, Jackson Byes, in the field here tonight. You see the 20 actually take this back here. I want to go back to the front. Jeff Merck, where did he come from? Boy, he's up to 9th now. Make it up 9 positions, rather, from where he started this race at. He's up battling for that first spot. And the field does look like they managed to get separated a little bit quicker on this run than they did in the last one. That makes me almost wonder if these guys felt like tire savings a little bit more important than what they gave it credit for over those first 15 or 16 laps. To see everybody kind of go this conservative this quickly. For Daniel Falkingham here, he's fallen a little bit back. And then, of course, the other thing I would wonder here is this the tire strategy? Maybe playing out here, because these guys have started to create a little bit of separation. Yeah, I can look at it here and see where some of these guys came out at the pits at. And we're going to actually go back here, take a replay. I'm just curious about something in terms of who took what on this pit stop. So we're going to run it back, and I want you to watch the 48 here as he goes through his box. We'll play it quickly. We talked about a lot of the leaders doing just either no tires or 2 tires. Let's see what Basin took here. He's one of the cars who's quick to pull away. Trying to get up there to the leaders here. Looks like they're going to jack up the right side first. Usually a good indication that you might be taking 4. Yes, all right, so there's your answer. That's the difference right now. Dylan Basin and what I would assume would be these other 2 decided to take 4 tires on that pit stop. And you can see it is certainly creating a bit of an advantage as they've stretched over a 1.5-second gap. From 4th on back, Daniel Falkingham desperately trying to play catch-up right here. So obviously the next question becomes, can these 3 run away, or is the advantage only temporary? Will they get tracked back down as this run continues to go on? We're just about at that halfway point here tonight. That'll be as we cross the line this time. And so for the 48 at Basin, continues to lead. Merck running 2nd, 21 to Smalden 3rd. For Daniel Falkingham, he's just outside that drafting range window right now. Well, actually, he's not, because he's chasing the man in 3rd, so I should say he's just inside of that drafting range window. So I think that these top 4 in the 2nd pack should be pretty content to stay in line, but you see Malik Ray now. He's going to look to see if he can make a move here on the 99. That'll put him up a spot over Dylan Jones. Jared Haynes back there as well. You saw the 183. Now Malik Ray's going to look for another spot. Will the 99 at Jones follow? Looks like for the moment he's content to stay in line. And this is obviously not what you want here if you're Malik. The longer you stay side by side, the more you wear your tires out. Part of me almost wonders if the advantage here is indeed only going to be temporary for these guys here tonight. Seems like Falkingham starting to slowly track him back down. We'll show you the track map here. You notice that I'd say the 2 lead packs, if you will, stretch all the way back to, looks like about 20th place. That's where we find Trevor Osmanoff, Nash Brambilla, and Mark Vondell currently chasing after that 2nd main group, rather 3rd main group, if you will. So the lead pack actually only goes back to about 18th or 19th, and then that's where we find Trevor Osmanoff in that 4th pack, if you will, kind of running by himself. He's got a teammate, Evan Carlbon, and Landon Velicki trying to catch up behind him. There's the 59 of Vondell on an island by himself, and Evan Carlbon, excuse me, trying to figure out who that was, Brock Westmoreland, rather. Currently the last car they're running, but it is Carlbon who is the only car a lap down at the moment. John Ward and Chase Mastretta both retired from this race. And we know for Ward it was an incident contact. Not sure what the issue was for Mastretta. But either way, hard to believe that we are now over halfway, just 24 laps to go as they rocket onto the backstretch once again. And that gap that got up to over a 1.5 seconds for the top 3 continues to fade here, and Marcus Smalden struggling to stay close with the top 2. That's really helping the case here for Falkingham, Ellis, Malik Ray, and Ethan Eckert. You gotta remember that car kind of acts like a bridge to help pull them up a little bit sooner to that draft of those top 2. And so now you almost hope here for the 48 and the 60. They had fresher tires, but did they use them up trying to run away from everybody? I think for Basin here, the ideal scenario would be he saved enough that if that group does get back up here, he's still got something to try to fight and fend him off with. There's the gearbox view as we look out back towards Jeff Merck. And for Merck, notice there how he is getting a little bit close on the straight, but not really doing much pushing and shoving here at the moment. And you hear with the big coast as he gets down in the corner. Almost sounded like he had the clutch in right there. I think he was just lifting a lot more than I initially expected. We'll have to check out the onboard view this next time here for Jeff Merck and see if that was the case or if it was something a little different. So they cross the start-finish line this time. It's going to be 22 laps to go. Let's see. See if they've been saving fuel. For Merck here, he's going to go for the pass. Wow, catches Basin off guard a little bit. Jeff Merck alongside the 48. He's got the side draft. Can he pull clear here coming off of turn 2? Still side by side down the Alabama gang backstretch. Jeff Merck looking to get clear, but here comes the 21 of Marcus Smolden. He's going to jump down to the inside. Not able to get clear. Instead, it's going to be Merck who goes to the lead. Merck pulls down. Basin's going to slip third into line. Daniel Falkingham and company have arrived, and the lead pack is now grouped back up into one. Boy, Smolden wasting no time here with the 60. And Merck thought maybe he'd kind of play the patience game and run behind him, but he's going to take that spot. Basin has to jump back down as well. Looking a little bit further back, you saw the 18 there, the M&M's machine, Wyatt Gray. Looking for a spot on the 7 of Haynes. Him and Colby Nill are going to try to get lined up and see if they can go chase down the leaders. Very interesting for sure now to see Merck going at it as much as he is here. Eckert's going to go to the outside while Malik Ray looks to the inside here on John Ellis Jr. 14 slides clear. I think Ellis kind of gives him that spot. So now it switches hands here. I almost think that maybe Malik Ray's the man in the best position. Remember, he had to pit a lap later because he either forgot to take fuel on that first lap or didn't want to, whatever the case may be. I think he missed his box is what we initially looked at, but if he decided to take tires when he went back in, then he would also be one of the drivers on fresher Goodyears here, which would certainly help out his case as he continues to go side by side with the 14 to John Ellis. Now stuck on the outside, looking to try to make something happen here. Which is 20 laps to go. They continue to battle it out for the lead. And normally this is about the point where I would say we're going to take a break, but boy, the action has been too exciting here tonight, so instead, how about a little crank it up from Talladega? Here we go. That's going to do it for tonight's segment of Crank It Up. Hope everybody did enjoy that. 17 laps to go now, and boy, maybe the most battling that they've been doing all night, and I'm not sure if these guys feel like they need the track position now or if everybody feels like now's the time where they've got the stuff to fight for it. Either way, those gaps starting to get a little bit closer down the backstretch. These guys almost nose to tail. About 6 or 7 cars on back. Falkingham going to look for another move to the inside. Going into turn 3, can the 39 get clear of the 1? He's trying. He's got to slide clear here off of 4. Looks like Malik maybe going to cut him a little bit of a break right there in doing so. John Ellis Jr., though, still glued to the inside. Marcus Smolden. Whoa, man, watch out. Some contact right there between Ellis and Malik. That's going to open up the middle for Dylan Jones, who tries to slot through. Just 16 laps to go, and these guys right now, side by side, just feet apart, trying to make something happen. We didn't even get a chance to talk about the payouts yet here tonight. And these guys look like they are racing like we are already, coming to 5 to go. Merck, though, continues to hold strong up front. We looked at the onboard view a couple times here tonight for Jeff Merck, but we're going to go right back to it. And we'll start first here just briefly with the cockpit view, but the bigger thing that you got to remember, if you're Jeff Merck, you're not looking out of the windshield right now. This is what you're looking at. Daniel Falkingham right on his rear bumper, trying to chase him down, and they'll cross the stripe now, 15 laps to go, and it's going by quickly. This is the most jumbled up that we have seen this lead pack all night, back to 2x2. Malik Ray still out of shape in the middle. That was Wyatt Gray who got on his rear bumper that time. I'll tell you what, said earlier that there may not have been a lot of bump drafting, but we are starting to see some guys utilize it just a little bit. And man, for Dylan Jones, big mistake right there. He got caught side drafting the 14 to John Ellis Jr. That opened the door up for Marcus Smalden to sneak by the inside. And you watch right here. I think the one of Malik Ray with better tires, he's got the option. Does he split the 21 or does he try to push him? And notice what Malik's doing right there. That's really what you're trying to do. Really, if you're any of the drivers in this pack, is get that arc down into the corners and the tri-oval here. That kind of helps you run the best line when you're going this fast. And it seemed like Malik was able to do that right there. But again, Jeff Merck continues to just put on stellar defense. The two other guys that we saw on those fresher tires, the 48 of Basin and the 21 of Smalden, have since faded. I think Malik Ray said, all right, this is enough. I got to get by you. So he'll try to sneak past here the mellow yellow machine of Marcus Smalden. He'll get clear into turn 3. So that now pushes Malik back up inside the top 5. But still, everybody that currently sits inside the top 15 is all single file and separated by less than a second and a half. So the lead pack still running really tight here with 13 laps to go. And man, I'll tell you what, Mark Pearson saying in the chat they may not be able to make it the whole way. Certainly an option. Boy, it surprises me, though, because when these guys went back green, we were just over 30 laps to go. And 100%, even in these cars, I thought for sure these guys would be able to stretch it to at least probably 32, 35. But that could be an interesting kind of wrench in the strategy here if some of these guys don't think they're going to make it all the way. Could explain a couple of things and could obviously make it very interesting here as we come down to the end of this race here tonight. And since we are going to keep it live here at the moment, I do want to take a chance to go and talk about the posted payouts here tonight as they're going to go back to side by side for the lead. Real quick, though, it was based off 40 drivers. We had just under 30 here tonight, so payouts will scale. But, boy, $17 entry, pretty good top 6 payout on the board here tonight. And, of course, as always, if you're interested in joining any of the PGR events, all you got to do is join the Discord. We have it in the description to the video. Don't forget, PGR Championship next week. That is going to be a big event for these guys. We talked about here tonight, final chance for a lot of drivers who have not won this season to try and secure themselves a place in that event next week. Of course, Malik Ray, multiple-time winner in PGR. He is not in that category. If you look back a few spots, though, and I think for this season, Jeff Merck, not sure if he's been able to find victory late yet this season. So certainly opportunity for him. 21 of Marcus Smalden, he would get in with a win. I believe John Ellis Jr. would as well. Malik Ray back to the top. Now starting to look a little bit more like what we're used to seeing at Talladega and Daytona. Controlling the lanes, it's so important to do. It doesn't matter what series you're in. Malik tried to block Jones to the top, couldn't cover. Now he's got to settle for the bottom with Falkingham. Still 2x2 off of turn 4, handling. Wouldn't say it looks great, but boy, these guys certainly look a lot better than what they did earlier. Malik now covers back down to the bottom, trying to keep Falkingham from being able to make that big move, and now the 39 jumps back high. He'll get lined up with the 99 of Jones. Malik Ray, no help on the bottom into the corner, but he is going to have the shorter way around. And oh man, if the 21 can't get there, Malik Ray is likely going to get marched by here down the backstretch. Watch the run here for Jones. Falkingham gets right to the back bumper. No side draft for Malik Ray, as that's going to clear 1, maybe 2 as they go into turn 3. Jones will pull clear. Falkingham pulls clear. Here comes Jeff Merck. He's going to now pull clear as well. And they'll be hitting single digits now when they cross the line this time. It'll be just 9 laps to go. And all the questions remain, is the big one going to break out? If so, when's it going to happen? 3 wide now. Jeff Merck caught in the middle. Oh, man, his car starts to wiggle. Can he catch it? They're still sneaking by. 3, almost 4 wide there through the short chute. Looks like everybody does save it, so they all keep it together at the moment. Falkingham now back to the point. But watch out, getting reports here that Joshua McCullough may have had some trouble here. I think this was coming into the pits. All right, so a couple drivers here going in for service. That includes Casey Sprinkle and Joshua McCullough. You wonder, is that an early indication that some of these guys maybe can't make it to the end here? Watch the pit stop here. Joshua McCullough just trying to dive it in way too quick. Big time slide as he goes in the grass, but does a good job of saving it. And so we stay green. And I mentioned one of the questions being, will the big one break out? The other question is, can everybody make it to the end here on fuel strategy? With the way they're racing, you would think yes. But you just don't know. It always gets you nervous when you see a couple of those drivers that already had to go in and make a stop. Did everybody save enough to make it to the finish? Malik Ray still holding strong on the inside, but Falkingham will get a nose out in front as they go into turn 3. And it seems like that outside has been a little bit better here tonight, but even more than that, it seems like whoever has had the best pusher has been the line that's made the most progress. So for Daniel Falkingham and Malik Ray, I'll tell you what, leading the front like this with as much confidence as they've got right now, they've got to be make or break here. They either think they can make it or they think they can't. There's no in between. Some of these guys, though, sitting a little bit further back. Most notably, I would say Dylan Basin and a couple others here. Maybe Jackson Buys, actually, because Basin led a couple laps. But think about the drivers who've been kind of sitting back in this pack and just riding around. Those are the ones you'd think can make it. Is watch out. This is going to be tight. 3 wide, squeeze off at 2. Oh, man, that was close. The 18 of Buys was trapped in the middle. Did a good job of keeping it off the left rear of Ethan Eckert. And so they'll get that sorted out as they go off into turn number 3. Back up front, we turn now. Daniel Falkingham still on the point. Marcus Smalden looking to set up another run on the outside. Malik going to cover that one. See Malik looking for just that little bit of a side draft. And, you know, we talked about if these guys can make it, believe me, they're practicing each lap here, especially these top 2 or 3, as what move they're going to try to make on that last lap to win this race. Now, we've seen a couple of different options. Of course, one of the big ones here is try to tandem the guy in front away and then make it just between you and him coming through the tri-oval. But in this car, man, it almost seems like if you can grab just a little bit of the right or left rear and then shoot out, you get just enough momentum to get clear for maybe, I don't know, 50, 100 feet. So we'll have to wait and see. And at the same time, got to mention, of course, if you've got a good pusher lined up behind you coming off of turn 4, maybe able to skate away as well. Whoa, man, big move right there from Malik Ray. Slammed the door on Smalden, who was getting a lot of momentum churning up top. That'll send Malik back to the front as he took it on the inside. Falkingham side drafts him back. Just 5 laps to go here at Talladega. And we've talked so much about the front 3, but we got to look at everybody in this pack because they're all going to have a chance here. As we come down to the end of it, Aaron Smith up 9 spots from where he started this race at. He has been money all night. Can he have a shot at the end? How about Jared Haynes for the Jack Shack? Another driver who's been making his way through the field all night. He's up 5 from where he started this race at. Currently sits in 7th. Dylan Basin in 8th. Landon Velicky still hanging strong in the top 10. And Wyatt Gray, can he get together with one of his teammates here? Jackson Buys to make one final push towards the end. Don't count out Mark Rogers. He's another driver who's been in the mix all night. Haven't called his name a lot, but he's up 9 positions from where he started this race at. Last but not least, Colby Nill, currently sitting in 13th. He's still got a shot here tonight as he's picked up 12 spots from where he started this race from here tonight. We'll be crossing the line next time to take just 3 laps to go. Remember, race is not official until we see that white flag, so these guys still have to get around 2 more times after we cross the stripe this time before all bets will be off. So still about single file now at the front after 5 to 10 laps of nothing but 2x2, even a little bit of 3 wide mixed in. And for Malik Ray, I think he's got to start to feel a little bit better that maybe some of the, I would say, really aggressive and really lungeful moves that some of these guys have made could start to die out just a little bit. Whoa, watch out, trouble! Smalden into the wall, he's going to save it. But that's big damage to the right front of the 21. That's going to hurt his arrow. Oh, Merck's looking to the inside. It's not going to work. Trouble. Smalden, can he save it this time? No, he's not. Back across the inside he goes. Jeff Merck spins. Caution is out as the field breaks apart down the super stretch. The 87 of Velicky's in it. John Ellis Jr.'s got big damage. The 05 of Joshua McCullough's involved. That was our first big incident here tonight. And I said it broke out down the super stretch here at Talladega, more known as the Alabama Gang backstretch. But either way, that looked exactly like something we see at these kind of tracks, Daytona and Talladega alike. It's just usually a matter of time before that accident breaks out. We were coming to the end, but let's go back and look at this here. Sure looked like Malik may have been a little bit late on a block here that kind of sparked this all off. Can't say that necessarily caused the wreck, but that's certainly where all this kind of chaos initially started. So let's go back and look at it. Watch this first here from the chopper view. So you see Smalden, he's going to get a little bit of a run here. And he goes to the top side. Right here, he's got it. Here comes the push from 39 of Falkingham. Boy, that's close, because it does look like Malik may have been trying to come up to cover. Question is, though, does the 21 move down, or is that just Malik trying to finish covering that block? Let's see. I definitely think from that view, that is the one of Malik coming up the track right here. Because you can see the 21, he never goes back down. Watch this. You're going to see the 21. He's consistently moving up towards the right here. I just think Malik was trying to get up. Maybe was starting to think about whether or not he was quite going to be clear there, but just still came up enough that he gets up into the 21's right, or rather left front, and sends him into the outside fence. But that, again, that didn't cause the wreck, so you can't necessarily put that on Malik for that spot. But then you see the 21 here, a little arrow damage. Merck sneaks to the inside, and then it's a little bit of contact after there that sets it all off. And I will say from this view, yeah, it looks like Merck's already there. I mean, you can see Merck, he tries to check up too, but just looked to me like the 21 coming down there. I'm not sure if that was a result of the damage or if he's just maybe trying to kind of get his rhythm back there after hitting the fence coming through the short chute. But then once that contact starts, again, just too hard to save these cars. Gets back down into Merck, and the rest is history. You see John Ellis Jr. gets turned, a couple of big hits there. Joshua McCullough, he's going to go for a big hit to the inside wall. And that took out a lot of good drivers that have been running up front all night. Man. Watch it again here from TV3. Going to the zoomed in view, and again, you'll see the 21 right here. Just coming down a little bit. Doesn't take much in these cars. And he tries to save it. Does a heck of a job, but right there, it just gets a little bit too far back to the right on him. And maybe if there's no car in the middle, maybe he catches this. You can see him almost has it, but then it's that second contact there. There's nothing, obviously, Jeff Merck can do at that point either. It really sets this one off, and then once it starts, you can see all the chaos that breaks out behind it. I think that's going to be an end of the night here for Joshua McCullough. Let's hop on his onboard view and see what he saw through this. Just trying to drive through, and pretty big hit. And similar to last week with what we mentioned in these cars, the brakes are obviously better, but it is still the same idea that you're just going so fast that, you know, by the time you would hit the brakes, you're likely not going to slow down much anyway. So a lot of drivers will try to commit to just going to a lane, but Joshua McCullough coming in there a little hot, and boy, he rams right into the 14. You saw Colby Nill, though, did choose to go the route of using the brakes and actually does a pretty good job avoiding this for the most part. Outside of a little contact on the front nose. So tip of the cap to Colby Nill right there. Let's go get another look here. We're going to go to the backstretch camera on this, and I want you to watch this. This will be the final replay. We look at this wreck, but watch how many cars get involved once this breaks out. I mean, it was probably 5, 6 at least. Slide down the banking, then a couple big hits back up top, and then what goes up must come down. So a lot of cars sliding towards the apron there as they got that going. Towards the back there was the 60 of Jeff Merck. So as we go back live now, we'll set ourselves up for another restart here. Lights are still on the pace car. But it is going to be Ethan Eckert who lines up on the front row. Wyatt Gray second, Malik Gray third, Daniel Falkingham fourth, and Aaron Smith rounding out the top 5. And it looks like since we are going to go back green with less than 2 to go, it's going to send us now to a 2-lap shootout. And so what that means is that this will be the final restart of the night. We've only got one green-white checkered, and we will run this thing out. So 2-lap shootout to decide it. An interesting note here, you see Wyatt Gray, who stayed out. He's got some pretty significant damage to the rear end of that race car, so we'll have to see how that affects him. And some pretty significant damage to the left side as well. The one other thing that I do want to check here before we get back to green flag racing here for this final restart is pit stops there. I assume everybody came in, but the bigger question was, what did everybody decide to take? So we're going to look at that now. Let's see what everybody decided to go with here, because this could be big in terms of talking about which strategies could play out to potentially win this race. So keep an eye on, again, some of the leaders here. We'll see Malik and a few others go down to the pits. Now let's see if everybody jacks up the right and left side. They take any tires, no tires. Looks like for Falkingham, I saw the left sides go up, saw the right sides go up. For Wyatt Gray, looks like left sides go up. That's all he takes. I think Malik may have taken 4 as well. So I think we've got a mixed batch here of some drivers that took 4, some drivers that took 2. Man, I almost think in this car I'd feel more comfortable on 4, so I think that's going to be the strategy here. We saw how much of an advantage that was in the short run during that last restart. So we'll have to see if we get the same this time. And boy, for Wyatt Gray, 2 tires and that much damage, I think he's going to be a little bit of a moving roadblock right here. So we'll have to see how it pans out. For Ethan Eckert on the inside, though, car looks clean. The question is going to be, can he fend these guys off? And as far as any drivers looking for that first win, I think Aaron Smith is the closest one towards the front to grabbing that win and securing himself a spot in the PGR Championship. It doesn't matter which way you shape it. Somebody's coming home a winner here tonight, and everybody else is going to be going home upset. It has been crazy so far, but we have not seen anything yet. Final restart coming up. It'll be a 2-lap shootout, green-white checkered style, to decide it here at Talladega. Ethan Eckert, Wyatt Gray going to lead us back into the restart zone for the final time. Green flag is back in the air at Talladega. Good restart for the inside, but there's the damage holding up the outside. Wyatt Gray pulls high. Falkingham's going to split him in the middle. But has the damage already been done? They're going to pull 4, maybe 5 cars clear on the inside. Gray continues to fade. Now everybody going to duck back down to the inside. First move back to the top is going to go to the 48 at Basin. Falkingham now going to pull to the top to try to help give him a push down the backstretch. No move yet from Malik Ray. You see Ethan Eckert trying to get that wide arc into the corner. Now Basin wiggles. That'll give Falkingham another spot to pick up. And remember that Malik and Eckert are teammates. I think they'll race, but I don't think they'll do it until we're coming to the tri-oval for the checkered flag. Either way, race was already official. Now it's just a matter of who's going to get back to the checkered first. White flag in the air. 1 lap to go at Talladega. Eckert's going to block back down to the bottom. Through 1 and 2, the field now getting back to 2x2. Smith blinks out in the middle. That's going to stall out the momentum. Daniel Falkingham looking for one more run up top. And boy, you see what he did right there, trying to keep Malik Ray pinned on the inside. Big bump draft, though, from Malik to his teammate Eckert. Final time to 3. Eckert's got the lead, but he's going to have to do some blocking here. Coming off of turn 4 if he wants to hold on to this one. Malik looking for one more run. He gets up into Falk. That gets them both tight. They wiggle. Now Eckert's going to have to find a lane to block. He looks up top. Falk looks a lane higher. Another block from the 12. Eckert. He tries to cover the middle. They're going to wreck it up. Come into the line. Malik Ray steals one sideways and wrecking across the start-finish line. He wins it at Talladega as the field flies apart behind him. And I don't even know what to say about the way that one ended. Chaos just broke out right there as they came into the tri-oval. And so Malik Ray is going to be scored as the unofficial winner right now. We'll have to see what happened right there to see how it all sticks. But boy, was that about as unpredictable of a finish as what I was expecting, at least. Well, let's go back and look at it here before we do anything else. It looked like Ethan was trying to control these 2 lanes here coming down to the end, and just didn't work out. Let's see. You see Falkingham. He gets up top here. Falkingham's got a big run. So you see Eckert. He goes high to cover it. It looks like he gets it here this first time. At least close enough, but maybe not high enough where Falk's able to at least bump him back down. Ethan initially goes down here, and then not sure if that's the car tighter, if he's trying to get back up to get another block on Falk, but he's not quite able to cover that one. Falk tries to beat him a lane lower, and then rest is history. They start getting together, and all the beating and banging leads to a big-time wreck coming to the start-finish, and you see Malik able to get just enough in front that by the time he gets turned, he's still able to sneak across the line before everybody else. So if nothing else, one thing I should say likely looks to be confirmed is Malik Ray will be your winner. Didn't see anything that he did wrong there that would be any sort of questionable. The only thing would be if race control deems anything between the 12 and the 39 of Falkingham and Eckert here as they came off of turn number 4. Let's watch it here again. This time we're going to go to a bit of an aerial view. See if we can get a shot of this here from the blimp cam. I don't quite like that one. Here we go. Let's watch a chopper view. So again, Falkingham, he finally gets the run he's looking for here. Goes up top. Eckert tries to cover it. Eckert doesn't quite get all the way up, though, and I think Falkingham felt like, hey, I know what you're trying to do here, so I'm going to shove you a little bit offset to get you back down. But then right there is the only part I can't figure out. Was Eckert trying to slide back up? Was Eckert trying to slide back up here, or is he just trying to catch the car from when he goes back down? I'll tell you what, from that angle, I know from our other angle the way it looked, but from this view, I don't think Eckert actually does come up. Watch this here. Watch his left side tires. Look, they're going below the double white line. They never slide up. I think that Falkingham's just trying to cross him over, and I think when Falkingham goes across his rear bumper, I think that just gets Eckert loose and spins him around. I mean, from that point of view, correct me if I'm wrong. I know we got a lot of people watching in the chat, and we'll go to a couple onboards here in just a moment, but again, watch this. So we talked about the first move, but watch the second one here. Again, it looks like Ethan is going down. Watch the left side tires to the white line. Look at that. They never come up. So I think that maybe either Falkingham was predicting the 12 to slide up or thought maybe even if he didn't, he could still beat him to the middle. And just as he slides across his bumper, he gets him a little bit loose, and then that gap for that kind of middle lane just maybe there, but not much. And then the contact occurs after. Ethan Eckert does a backflip coming across the line. And then Malik Ray looks like he's going to be taking his trophy and pangs in the infield care center tonight as well. Man. It's a tough break there. We'll have to go back and see here in some of the onboard views we can get. Watch this here first. We'll go first to the onboard view. Let's go to Daniel Falkingham first. And I'm going to tell you what, from this view, I'm going to say it's going to look... Let's see. Let's just go back and watch it before I say anything here. So you see the 12 here. Watch the first block. This is the one that I think Falkingham felt like, hey, listen, I kind of know what you're doing here. I'm going to keep it as high as I can, give you a little push down. And then again, I think that Falkingham just felt like he was going to maybe be able to squeeze through that middle lane, but just couldn't quite do it. Yeah, and Kenny Real says, who knows how they'll call it. Yeah, tell you what, wouldn't want to be race control in this one. It's certainly a tough one. I think that's really, it's, again, I can tell you who I would think it's on, but overall, it's nothing like egregious here, I don't feel like. I think these guys were definitely going for it at the end, but if you have to blame fault here. Yeah, again, this was the view that we said. Again, you look at it from this angle, and boy, I agree. It looks like the 12 slides up, but the reason that is because of the camera angle. It's as they're coming into the tri-oval. But again, watch Ethan's left tire. See, he's not moving. It's the 39, I think, that's just trying to get to that middle line. Just gets Ethan a little bit loose. And if there was a middle lane there, it closes off once the 12 starts to get a little squirrely. And boy, watch this wreck, though. We didn't get a chance to admire that part of it. Watch Eckert up and over, almost into the catch fence. It's clobbered by about every single car after that. Oh, my goodness. All right, so with that, a chaotic ending here. We'll have to see what happens here, how race control decides to call it. But one thing that I would say we know just about all for sure is your race winner here tonight, and that is none other than the one of Malik Ray. Adds another one to the long list that he has already obtained in PGR. You will be seeing him next week in the 2025 PGR Championship. Aaron Smith, boy, what a finish for him here tonight. And what I believe is his first race in PGR. He takes home second here tonight, picking up 13 spots from where he started this race at here tonight. Daniel Falkingham for now being scored on the podium. Jackson Byes fourth, and Ethan Eckert for now being scored in that fifth position. Colby Nail, a good run for him here tonight. He'll take home some money, bringing home that sixth place spot. Jared Haynes back in seventh. It's Dylan Basin taking home eighth. Ken McCullough Jr., rather Dylan Jones, I should say, in ninth. And then the captain, Ken McCullough Jr., rounding out the top 10. Back in 11th, it's Nash Brambilla for PGR eSports. The Jack Shacks, Trevor Osranoff, finishes in that 12th position. It's going to be Marcus Smalden in 13th. Jeff Merck, 14th, with Casey Sprinkle in 15th. Mark Vondell, 16th. John Ellis Jr. finishing that 17th spot here tonight. Mark Rogers back in 18th. And rounding out the top 20, it's going to be Michael Barksdale and Wyatt Gray. Finishing in 21st is Landon Veliky. Brock Westmoreland 22nd with Evan Carlbon 23rd. Joshua McCullough finishes in 24th. John Ward finishes 25th. Chase Mastretta in 26th. And he will round out your field here tonight. Now, we are going to go grab your top 3 for interviews, so make sure that you do stick around if you're interested in hearing that. Otherwise, if you're going to head out, before you do, just want to say thank you to everybody for tuning in tonight. As always, we appreciate you being here, and we will be back next week for the PGR Championship. With that, let's go grab your top 3 for interviews. We'll be right back here at Talladega. All right, and we're going to kick things off first here tonight with your race winner. We do believe this will be official. Didn't see any issues with this part of the finish, and that's Malik Ray. Malik, this is Austin up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir. How you doing, man?
Good. Well, man, you add another win onto the tally here tonight. I mean, if we had a Hall of Fame, you'd obviously be a first-round inductee by this point. But, hey, let's talk about tonight because it was a different car, different style of racing. Tell us about that finish. Boy, that was chaotic.
Yeah, that finish was crazy. I'm not gonna lie. I do feel bad for Dan because I did the same move in SARA or in Nazareth, and they gave me an EOL for it too. I know he was close to being on Ethan's inside. He just wasn't quite there. So I just heard that he got the EOL, but I mean it is what it is. I was enjoying the racing up until that point. I wish the yellow would have had never even came out, to be honest. That was really good racing between us front 2 or 3.
Yeah, it certainly was, and really all night we saw the great racing. And, we don't see this car run much. I think we only ran it once before. What was kind of the biggest difference you noticed, and what makes this car so difficult to drive?
I think it's very, important that you got to drag the brake and be able to, paint the yellow line because that's how you're able to save your tires the best. And I just feel like with the track being as hot as it was, it created a certain scale gap after 30, so I enjoyed it a lot. Anytime there's a scale gap involved, I'm always for that.
Absolutely. Well, Malik, you've been here so many times. We're running out of questions to ask you. But, man, before we let you head out tonight to go enjoy some more winnings, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out?
Shout out to all of my teammates, which would be Aaron, Ethan, Jackson, and Wyatt. All of us are doing really good up front. And shout out to Dan, too, because he was racing me clean up there earlier. I was enjoying that. And then and you guys for broadcasting. And most importantly, Roger Shelton at Tent Solutions. I appreciate all you guys. Thank you.
And Malik, thank you for talking to us. Again, another win tonight. We know we'll see you next week in the 2025 PGR Championship. We'll see if you can get yourself a victory then as well.
All right, thank you, man. I appreciate it.
All right, there you go, Malik Ray, your race winner here tonight. Now let's bring up the man who finished second. That is Aaron Smith. Aaron, this is Austin up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I've got you.
Well, man, I believe, and again, correct me if I'm wrong here, your first PGR race here tonight, and you bring it home with a runner-up finish. That does not happen very often. How are you able to come out here and put on such good performance here in your first race tonight?
I don't know, to be honest with you. I was expecting to finish around 5th or 6th there, but Malik reached out to me and had me run it in their channel, and we made work there at the end of that race, and we almost had it locked out. I think we did, actually, top 4 there. So, it was great working with them, and I'm glad it worked out for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Aaron, again, we talked about it being such a good run for your first race. Now that you've gotten a little feel for it, you know what PGR is like. Do you expect to make a couple more runs in the future? And do you think you got a shot at maybe grabbing that first win here in the near future?
I'd like to think so. I enjoy these cars like the 87s, the COTs, the cars where you really have to drive them. It's like running Old Atlanta, and I enjoy racing like that. So if we have more of that, you'll definitely see me more often here.
Looking forward to it. Well, Aaron, before we let you head out here tonight, your first race and a top 3 finish to go along with it. So before we let you head out, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out?
Yeah, I'd like to thank all the folks at PGR for having me tonight, all the folks I was working with tonight for running well all race, and all the folks for watching. Looking forward to getting back at it whenever I show up next.
Absolutely. And Aaron, thank you for talking to us. Congrats on the runner-up finish, and hopefully we'll see you again soon.
10-4, thank you.
All right, and you heard Malik Ray allude to it, so we'll just clear this up in case anybody... Oh, wow, never mind. Well, we got a correction here. Tyler Vickery, who is sitting in the Discord here, giving us some clarification. You heard Malik initially say it sounded like they were going to call it on the 39. Looks like they may have switched the decision to be a racing incident here. And I was going to see if we could maybe pull up our race control, if we got him in the chat. But it looks like here tonight our race control currently is deafened and muted, so we're not going to be able to get an answer there. But again, looks like the official decision from as much as we know right now is that the 39 going to be kept as a racing deal, and that means that Daniel Falkingham will be confirmed as one of your podium finishers here tonight. I believe, just as I say that, Baker's hopped in here now. So before we interview your third place finisher, let's find out officially who it is. Baker?
Yeah, it's going to just be chalked up as a racing deal. Ethan kind of double blocks. He comes up to cover Falk, goes back down to Malik, and then as he's coming back up through the trial, gets completely sideways. Nowhere really for Falkingham to go, so...
All right, and there you have it. So Matthew Baker, our race control, letting you know what it is here tonight. So with that, let's officially bring up your podium finisher here tonight, and that is none other than Daniel Falkingham. Daniel, this is Austin in the booth. You got a copy?
Hey, I got you.
Well, man, you finished third here tonight. I know initially there were some questions about the ending there, but it's all been sorted out, and now that it's official, boy, let's talk about that ending. It looked crazy. What was going through your mind there as you came off of turn 4?
Well, I mean, I knew Ethan was going to block because I didn't have enough run to get alongside him. I was surprised I even got myself in that position because the car in front of me, I think it was wide. I don't know if he stayed out or what, but he was friggin' damaged and was slow in front of the outside. So that allowed me to lose like 5 spots immediately. But thankfully, we just ripped the top with Dylan. But unfortunately, Dylan got loose. So I was kind of on my own, ripping the outside lane. We made it stick. And thankfully, we were able to generate a run that last lap to even get in that position. So I'm even glad we got there to that point. But yeah, so like Ethan, he blocked my run, which was perfect. Then he went back down to cover Malik, and then for whatever reason, he just comes back up in front of me, and then just tries to block, and he failed miserably. Like, I don't know what you expect when we're going 230 mile an hour in this car through the tri-oval at a very hot racetrack. Like, we're gonna be slip and slide. We were doing that the whole night through the tri-oval, where the rear end likes to kick out when we're going into the tri-oval. So we tried to cover him with the way he slid up the tri-oval. Like, you're gonna freaking slide like the way his car weight shifted. And then he tries to come back down and cover me and was not clear at all. But like I said, it could have been so simple. He just has to cover Malik and he wins. Like, there was no reason for him to come up in front of me. So all I can say is he kind of just screwed himself trying to come back in front of me because, I mean, he leaves the hole open, then he tries to close it, and I'm already there. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, it could have been so much simpler, but had to make it a little bit harder for the admins, I guess. But I'm glad the right call was made, and we got a P3 out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. You do get that P3 finish here tonight. And obviously, we know that the PGR 500 is coming up in a couple of months, defending champion of that. But before we get too much to the focus of that, we've got the 2025 PGR Championship next week. Of course, you are in that event. What do you got to do to get prepared, and how much would a win in that mean for you here coming up next week?
Yeah, that would mean a lot because like I said, we're trying to go back to back in that. We got it done last year, and winning that championship gave us momentum going into the PGR 500, where we got the win there too. So would mean a lot to see if we can go get another one of them trophies. Try to go back to back, but it's in the Gen 6, and with the Gen 6, anything can happen, as we saw in SummerSlam and many other events. So we'll go out there, we'll go race, we'll see what we can do, try our best, and if we win, we win. If we don't, we don't. It's not gonna really change my outlook, but well, listen, we're gonna race hard no matter what. See if we can get it done.
Absolutely, and Daniel, you said it best. Momentum is key. And I'll tell you what, for yourself and all the drivers next week, that could be a big lead into who could have a good shot at the PGR 500. Well, Daniel, before we let you head out here tonight to celebrate another podium finish, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out?
Yeah, just thank you for broadcasting. Thanks to Baker and Mike for putting this stuff on. Thanks to everyone who races. Shout out to Merck, John Ellis, and Dylan Jones, who were in the voice call with me. We were all working good together up front, and unfortunately, they just got caught up in wrecks at the end. Hate it for them, but glad we could get up there and at least still have a shot at it. And thanks to everyone watching as well. It was a good time. Well, this is a very fun combo that we definitely need to run more often.
Yeah, and it was a lot of fun to watch. Daniel, thank you for talking to us. Congrats on the third place finish, and we'll see you next week in the PGR Championship.
I appreciate it, Austin. You have a good one.
You as well. All right, well, there you go. Questions have been answered. Top 5 is official. Malik Ray scores himself another win here tonight. He'll be one of the key players to watch next week. Phenomenal run for Aaron Smith and Daniel Falkingham with another podium himself. As for the way that race ended, we looked at the replays, and again, one thing I'll say is, hey, listen, I'm not race control for a reason. Make out the best we can see here on the broadcast, but talked about that was going to be a tough decision for race control to make. You heard them say looked more like either a racing incident or maybe more so on the 12 of Eckert. So nonetheless, that's the way it will be scored here tonight. Top 5 official. And with that, we will now set our sights next week to the PGR Championship. Last thing I want to make note of here tonight, we talked about it a couple of times at the PGR 500, now under 2 months away. Let me tell you something, folks. We have got a lot of big things upcoming for this event. If you thought last year was big, how about this? 3 $10,000 guaranteed to the winner this year. Over $10,000 going to be guaranteed in cash prizes throughout the field. So the payouts already way bigger than even what they were last year. We're going to have a stellar broadcast and production crew once again. We're looking to hopefully see if we can get a couple of special guests on board. So if you're interested in that event, all you got to do is visit the PGR eSports website. You can get signed up there. And if you're interested in sponsorship opportunity, you can check that out as well by joining the PGR eSports Discord or messaging myself on Discord. With that, we'll wrap it up here tonight. Again, we'll be back next week. But as for tonight, thank you all so much for tuning in. As always, I hope you enjoyed. That's it for me, Austin Green, here on PGR eSports. And until next time, have a good night.